Hey everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 5, Jersey Shore Showdown. Okay, we pick up exactly where we left off in Episode 4 with Teresa telling the producer to off, and then she drove away. She was angry because Louis was upset. He didn't want to appear on camera. I guess because new stories had surfaced about him. But she was supposed to be hosting this big barbecue dinner that everyone was coming to at Jennifer's house, and she left without saying a word to Jennifer. So now we see Jennifer looking out the window like, what the f*** happened? She calls Teresa, gets her voicemail. Side note, I love how curly and frizzy Jennifer's hair is getting in this humidity. I feel like a kindred spirit, like a certain bond with her. All you curly girls know what I'm talking about, right? The hair expands in the heat. We get your typical montage of everybody getting ready to go over for the barbecue. We also see the caterers setting up, putting hamburgers on the grill. Yeah, she catered a cookout. Like, I can't cook at all, but even I could throw a hot dog on a grill. I mean, if Teresa is not cooking, she's not having it at her house, and now it looks like she's not even attending, can we really still call it Teresa's barbecue? Jennifer calls Bill. He's on his way down now, and she tells him that Teresa just stormed out and she does not know why. We check in with Delores and Frank. Delores is really questioning Jackie's friendship to Jennifer. I mean, yeah, because Jackie questioned her friendship to Jennifer. Delores, I love Delores, but her worldview here is disturbing to me. And in any case, she's mad because she thinks that Jackie acts like she's a friend to Jennifer, but then she talks about her husband behind her back. I mean, he did something that kind of warrants being talked about. Some might even say that's showing friendship to Jennifer, to talk smack about her husband who cheated. And also, is it really talking smack? All she said was, he shouldn't have done it. She said it in a crass way. She said, just to remind you. She said he shouldn't have stuck his dick in somebody else. Is that talking smack? Not really. She's saying what he did, he shouldn't have done. That's not smack talk. All right, so now all the people that were staying with Joe and Melissa have hopped in a van and they're heading over to Jennifer's house for the barbecue. In the van, Melissa's like, oh, I hope tonight's going to be fun. And they're like, yeah, it will be, unless somebody dug some dirt up on somebody. Margaret says something like, oh, well, then we're going to have a huff out. And everyone's like, what's a huff out? Or the guys maybe said, what's a huff out? And she said, that's when we as a group leave in a huff. Okay, so then Bill arrives before any of the guests get there. Jennifer's having a little nip of tequila to get through the night. Still, nobody's heard from Teresa. Side note, is it wrong that I miss Tequila Jen? I'm just thinking about how she goes from that sweet, in my culture, our people, blink, blink, to like this very, I'm gonna break your head. The van full of people arrive. They ring the doorbell, and Bill is being very awkward. Like, he goes past the door. He can see, because there's glass. He can see them, and he just walks past and kind of makes Jennifer answer the door. Well, they saw him too. So they're all like, did Bill just see us and walk away? They're like, yeah. Joe Gorga's like, he looked right at me. So that was strange. Jennifer goes down, opens the door. Margaret has a little confessional where she is telling us that she and Jennifer are working on getting back to a good place with each other. And she has nothing against Bill. It's probably because she did the same thing. She says that it's always been about Jennifer and how she chastises her for cheating when her husband did the exact same thing. People now are starting to notice that Teresa's not there, and they're asking Jennifer, and Jennifer says, I have no idea. I tried texting her a couple of times, and she hasn't returned my texts. She's like, she stormed out, and I haven't heard from her since. Melissa goes, I knew this would happen. I was warned. Louis, he's new to this world, and she doesn't want anybody talking about him. Jennifer goes, yeah, she wants to protect him. And then Margaret, as sensitive as ever, says, I know, but let him handle it. He's a grown man. And Jackie goes, okay, not for nothing, but last year, she said to me, if it's not true, stick up for your man. So Teresa should be here doing that. Anyway, everyone goes to like sit outside to have a drink before dinner. And this is the phase of the party where everybody's being very nice and telling Jennifer it's beautiful here. It's set up so pretty. Melissa goes, I never thought I'd just be hanging out at your house, Jennifer. And then she's like, I mean, not you, Bill, because you've always been kind of nice. But Jennifer and I kind of go at it a lot. Jennifer, I just tease you. Okay. We all saw that post, Jennifer. Please, that was not gentle teasing. Melissa goes, no, I mean, you know, you got a little serious there sometimes. We all get a montage of Jennifer's greatest hits.
Are you still considering freezing your eggs?
Yes.
You?
Are you kidding? She's not going to have a baby. She's way too self-absorbed. When we were in Lake George, Margaret, she said, my husband's a plumber. You think we don't know Joe Borga doesn't pay people?
You are a liar.
I didn't know that you would get offended that much.
Melissa is like speechless. Everybody's quiet. And in walk Delores and Frank. Frank's like, why is everybody so quiet? Jennifer's like, are you hungry? Let's go eat. So they all go to eat. Delores is like, where's Teresa? Everyone tells her that she left in a huff and they don't know if she's coming back. Then we get this dramatic music. The camera is showing the inside of an empty van, and into the van comes Teresa and Louie, all dressed up for this barbecue. Teresa looks up and warns him and goes, there's a camera right there. And he's like, okay. Louie wants to know why all this is coming out. And Teresa blames Margaret for bringing it up at her summer pool party. Teresa, I don't trust Margaret at all. She's ruthless. Then, this is weird, guys. Louie said, at Jeffrey's house? What the f*** is Jeffrey? And Teresa says, yeah. Was Teresa's party held at someone else's house? Like someone named Jeffrey, maybe? Does she just host parties at other people's places? Is that a thing now? Hey, I'm having a huge celebration on the 14th. Hope you can make it. It'll be at your house. I mean... In Teresa's confessional, she says, with not an ounce of irony in her voice, nobody should be judging anybody else. Okay. Especially on their past. When that happens, that's when I step in. She does a lot of threatening. Have you noticed that? Maybe she doesn't believe in judging anyone else, but she definitely believes in threatening other people. So back at Jennifer's house, Margaret said, you know, with Louie, at the end of the day, is there weirder shit out there? Yes, for sure. But we've all dealt with it. Now we see a headline claiming that Louie is, quote unquote, sex obsessed. Well, that's good, because poor Teresa has been shoveling back the pineapple for the last 2 years. At least make it worth her while. Okay, so Teresa and Louie now walk in to the barbecue like... everything's fine. Nothing to see here, folks. All good. Hugs and kisses. What are you having to drink? And yeah, the guys are ribbing Louie for having skinny legs or something. I don't know. All good until it gets super quiet. Nobody is saying a word now. Margaret kind of under her breath. This is very awkward. I'm not sure if she means the silence or the fact that she's sitting right next to Bill. So then Tracy, little quiet mouse Tracy, leans over to Melissa, who's sitting next to her, and said, are we going to address the elephant ever? And Melissa goes, which one? Tracy, she just left. And Melissa goes, well, I mean, I don't know. That's what Jennifer said. She left in a huff, but it doesn't seem that way. Yes, because Teresa's pretending everything's fine. So then Jackie from across the room hears that like Melissa and Tracy are talking, and she goes, what? Jennifer said what? Jackie might be a little bit of a pot stirrer. So nobody has the nerve to like say anything. So Margaret does. It's always Margaret. Teresa, Jennifer said you left in a fit. Teresa, I left in a fit? No, I left in a Range Rover. She looks like she doesn't understand the phrase. Margaret, yeah, you had a huff out. Okay, stop trying to make huff out a thing. If she didn't understand what left in a fit means, she's not going to understand what left in a huff out means. So Teresa's like, no. Bravo, of course, replays it for us. I'm leaving. Fuck you. Margaret goes, she said you were very upset and you said you weren't coming back and you left. Okay, so this is what I find interesting. It probably has to do with editing, but to me, there are so many times that somebody repeats what another person said who's actually also still in the room sitting there. So when she's replaying to Teresa what Jennifer said, it frustrates me that Teresa doesn't ever then look at Jennifer and say, that's not true, why did you say that? Or that would be an opportunity for Jennifer to look at Margaret and say, that's not what I said. But it's weird. It's like they're talking about someone who isn't right there capable of defending themselves. So as I'm thinking it through, it probably has more to do with like editing and things getting cut out. I don't know. You know, this is how I am with like a wacky comedy or something, when it's a series of misunderstandings and you're just like, this could so easily have been solved if you would just go to the source and ask. But that's just me, you know. Wouldn't be as funny if they did, I guess. Anyway, Teresa goes, I didn't say that. And Margaret goes, come on, Teresa. So Teresa said, is there anything anybody wants to say to me? Because if there's stuff going on behind my back and I find out about it, it's not gonna be good. Okay. Teresa Soprano. Like, how not good? Are you gonna murder them? Because you sound like a mob boss right now. I mean, even Delores looks afraid. I'll tell you what, say what you want about Margaret, but she is not afraid of Teresa. Not that she should be, but like nobody should be. She's got some nerve. Nobody else opened their mouth. Tracy's awfully quiet for someone who's interested in addressing the elephant. So Margaret said, Teresa, I don't think anybody's going behind your back, but I think everybody is curious about that video. It's not a nosy thing. It's just that people care about you and we're concerned. Teresa, why? I've been with him for a year. There's no concern. Jennifer, I'm not concerned. Okay. Thanks, Jennifer. Since when is telling your friend that you're not concerned about them a good thing? I'm not concerned. I care very little about what happens to you. Then Teresa tells us that, you know, whatever's in Louis's past stays in the past. All she cares about is her present and future with him. That's what she's going to focus on. Louis, I can address the video. Teresa goes, no, babe, you don't owe anybody here anything. And he's like, no, Margaret has a question. Margaret's like, no, it's not just me. Everybody questions it. So Teresa goes, Melissa? And Margaret goes, we all talked about it. Teresa gets heated and loud. Margaret's like, why are you so upset? I don't like you talking about my boyfriend behind my back. I've been with him a year. You should be happy for me. Margaret goes, I am happy for you, but Jennifer said you left in a huff. Louis goes, can I say something? Margaret goes, yes. Teresa, I mean, maybe not. It depends, but I don't want you to answer her questions. You don't owe her anything. Finally, Margaret's like, I didn't ask a question. Teresa, seemingly not to have heard anything, somebody goes after him, they're going after me. Margaret's like, I'm not going after him. Then Louis stands up. Stop. Can we just talk calmly? So everyone quiets down. Louis sits down and he looks at Margaret and says, I can answer your questions because you on your best day wouldn't intimidate me. He said, whatever you want to say, talk to me. Teresa, he doesn't owe anybody. And Louis cuts her off. Teresa, I'm going to leave. And then he looks at everybody else there and he said, because she won't learn unless I leave, right? Oh my God. Like he's trying to train her. Wow. I don't care what kind of video he made. I don't care if he was naked or not. Let's just look at current present behavior. Wow. Your boyfriend just talked to you like you were a pet in front of all your friends. Wow. Knowing this group, it's probably not even going to get mentioned again, but like that to me was a big moment. He's like, you got to stop. You got to be quiet. Teresa says, don't leave. Louis says to her, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen more. I both hate him and I can't wait to hear more because this is This is insane. So now Louis is attempting to mansplain to the entire group the weird naked video. But he begins with his childhood. And I'm sorry, visions of Aaron fucking Richards are swirling in my head right now. When I was 8 years old, I lived near the power lines, and here I am today. So anyway, Louis grew up with a lot of trauma in his childhood, and apparently a friend of his started this retreat thing called Warrior out in California. Oh no. Is your friend's name Aaron by any chance? Don't ask me how I know. I just know. Anywho, a lot of men go there to revisit their pain and get clarity, Louis says. So I had to go there to get honest with a woman because I didn't want to get married to her. I didn't want to marry a bad woman. It was her that was bad. Okay, go on. And I had to apologize for not saying, you know what, it's over. We cut to Jackie's confessional. And she said, are we talking about the same video? Because the one I saw had you asking the woman to marry you. So Louis to the group. So that's why I did that. Does that make sense? Margaret's confessional. The video we all saw, he was proposing. So he's just lying to our faces right now. Louis goes on to say, side note, that would have been the opportunity when he said, does that make sense to you? That would have been the opportunity for one of them to just say, in the video, you were proposing to her. How do you explain that? But no, nobody said that to him. Louis just ends by saying, so I had a thirsty ex who just went and put that out there to try and humiliate and embarrass me. But you know what? I'm proud of that. Then he shows us that he commemorated that event with a tattoo on his chest. Teresa to everybody, are you happy now? No. I'm less happy than I was before he spoke. Jesus. He treats you like you're a pet he's trying to train. Anyway, Joe's like, what are you so mad about, Teresa? And Teresa says it's the gossiping. Again, without an ounce of irony in her voice. She's upset about the gossiping. Did you hear about Louis? Yeah. He was doing stuff in a video. No, you didn't hear? Let me go ask somebody else until I find somebody. Oh, she's fun. Anyway, Joe's like, everyone's going to gossip, Teresa. And she's like, well, I don't like it. And he said, a friend you hang out with every day gossiped about me. She called me a crook. Is that okay with you? It's not. But you hang out with her every day. Teresa, hello, you hang out with Margaret. Margaret's like, what the hell did I say that was so bad? And she goes, you brought up the video and you went after Jennifer? And Margaret's like, I did not go after Jennifer. Teresa yells, yes, you did. Jennifer says, what you did was cruel. And Margaret's like, you've done mean things to me since I've known you. I'm a slut. You chastised me for having an affair. And Jennifer goes, don't you insult me for things I put out there? And Margaret's like, not if it's in my own backyard. Bill and I are a little similar. Bill looks like he wants to be anywhere but there. Humans, am I right? Jennifer goes, you exposed a secret of mine. I don't go digging for you, and I don't go digging for you or digging for you. The last one was to Jackie, and then we get a flashback. And here comes Tiki Barber, walking into this nest of screaming accusations back and forth. Teresa is now defending Jennifer, that she didn't go digging after Margaret. Side note, I would just like to point out right now, at this point in the night, it was 2 against 1. Teresa and Jennifer were coming after Margaret, and nobody else had said anything at this point in defense of Margaret, except Margaret herself. And I just want to point that out because there's a lot of talk about how the 3 mean girls, Margaret, Jackie, and Melissa, all gang up on Jennifer. I just think it's important to point out that at this point in the argument, none of those ladies have stepped up to say anything in defense of Margaret. In fact, when they do chime in, it's in their own defense. It's because of the things that Jennifer said about them, not Margaret. But of course, Teresa, it's okay to pile on Margaret and say, you went after Jennifer. None of it's okay, but, I'm just saying it isn't as cut and dried as these three mean girls always pile on Jennifer. At this point now, Melissa says to Teresa, if someone asks a question about Evan, they're not digging. But if someone asks a question about Louis, they are digging. And the thing about Louis is a fact. So Melissa's like, Jennifer did it. She has to own it. Let her own that. She's like a little fucking hater. So now Jennifer goes, I'm not a fucking hater. Melissa, you called my husband a crook. Jennifer goes, I don't know anything about you. I really don't. And Joe goes, oh, I thought you did. No, I wanted to address the crooked thing. It's hearsay and it's out there. Then we get a flashback to last season when Michelle, R.I.P. Michelle, you tried to be a housewife, didn't work out, said that Joe owed her husband money. Then they start fighting about their little Twitter war. And then Jennifer said about Joe Gorga, she's saying this to Melissa, that was between you and I. Even he, little bitch girl, came in and commented, you don't need to get in our fights, Joe. Well, Melissa is up on her feet. Jennifer's up on hers. They're going at each other. They're in each other's faces. And it looks like Jennifer grabs Melissa's wrist. Everybody's on their feet right now. They're either holding back Jennifer or they're holding back Melissa. Melissa's screaming, don't you ever put your fucking hands on me again. And Jennifer goes, you started with me, and because I finished, you get all salty. Melissa goes, salty about what? I don't give a fuck about you. So they're leaving, and you can hear Jackie say, I'm done with her. I don't want to help her anymore. And Jennifer heard that. You're done with me, Jackie? What did I do to you now? And Jackie goes, I just think you're an asshole. So Jennifer goes, you came to me pretending to be my friend, and then you said he stuck a dick in somebody else. Jackie, and he did. Jennifer now is just like, fuck you, get the fuck out of my house, you can fucking go home. Delores is staying behind because right now Jennifer's hurt. Okay. And also because she didn't ride with the others. Now Bill hasn't been seen all night, really. Well, yeah, he has. He's been like kind of lurking in the corners. He goes upstairs in the house, and I'm feeling a little sorry for Frank because does he just have to hang out with Louis now? He wished he was staying at Melissa's house, right? In the van, they're kind of talking about how Bill was nowhere around, and Margaret thinks that he was embarrassed and wanted out of there, and Melissa thinks that Bill can't stand Jennifer. So Jennifer, Delores, and Teresa are talking. Jennifer, she started it. And then even your brother gets in on it. Why? She's saying that to Teresa. Why does he have to comment on the women's shit? Now, Teresa is in a bit of a predicament here because the one thing that Teresa does seem to abide by, her one code of honor is family before all else, right? You don't go back on family. And she struggles with that because, damn it, Melissa's family and she hates her. With every fiber of her being, she hates Melissa. And she is stuck with her as long as her brother stays with her. And Jennifer goes, Bill doesn't get involved. No, he doesn't. And Teresa goes, yeah, I know. In the van, Melissa is on a roll. If my sister was sitting there and somebody called me a little bitch, everybody better watch out. The fact that your sister just sat there, Joe, that's what really annoys me. And you know what? I'm going to tell her that right now. Pulls out her phone. So I guess all she really texted was, why didn't you leave? Delores, oh, I called that. Teresa wants Melissa and Joe to defend Louis, but then she didn't defend her own brother. I wouldn't want to be Teresa. She's in a real pickle. So Teresa wants Jennifer and Melissa to make up, and she thinks that, that's possible. And Jennifer's like, well, if I do, it's just going to be for your sake. So Teresa's reply to Melissa is, Jennifer has no ill intentions, and she's going to make it better tomorrow, promise. Melissa reads it, ha! Teresa just texted me. She will make it better tomorrow. Well, not at my motherfucking house, she won't. All right, next morning, we have all the couples talking in bed. Everyone's just waking up, processing the events of the previous evening. Frank's like, yeah, maybe Jennifer was in the right. Because Delores is basically saying that Melissa came charging at her. And, you know, from where I come from, that's aggressive and you're going to punch that person. Joe thinks that Jennifer called him a little bitch boy. Not quite. Her exact words were, he, little bitch girl, had to get involved. And Melissa just thinks that Bill checked out of the building. Over at Bill and Jennifer's house, Jennifer says to Bill, all three of them came and ganged up on me and you just stood there. I don't know if you were finishing your meal, if you were a little busy maybe. And Bill goes, you wanted me to get in the middle of it? Someone could have gotten bitten. Jennifer worries that they're all thinking that you don't want anything to do with me. You can't stand me. I mean, kinda. Jackie's talking to Evan and she's like, that comment that I made about Bill was in defense of Jennifer. Yeah, that's what I thought. And she's upset that Jennifer thought it would be in some way to hurt her. Tracy says to Tiki, oh, you missed a good time before you got there. Tiki goes, that was a good time? I didn't even get to finish my drink. Side note, Tiki Barber has $1 million smile. He's cute, isn't he? Oh my God, thank you, Tracy. She's telling Tiki the way Louis spoke to Teresa. I was afraid none of them would think anything of it. To me, it was like shocking, but she's like telling Tiki now and she goes, he was like, hey, if I don't leave, how's she ever gonna learn? I was thinking, oh my God, I wouldn't even say that to my dog. Cut to Teresa and Louis in bed. Teresa's like, Margaret has a little evil streak in her, always bringing up people's pasts. And Louis goes, will you stop talking about this? And I'm thinking, oh my God. But he goes, and like, make out with me? Like, you saved yourself at the end, but I thought he was going to be like lecturing her again. Then they kiss, and I'm thinking, God, he'll do anything to shut her up. Everyone comes downstairs now at Joe and Melissa's. Joe has cut up a beautiful watermelon, and they're having breakfast outside. At Jennifer's house, she's making eggs and bacon for everyone. Side note, seriously though, how humid is it there? Earlier, when Tiki was like getting ready for the day, he said it was sticky. And now, look at Bill's hair. I mean, no self-respecting vampire would be seen with anything less than perfectly coiffed, slicked back hair. This is a travesty. We go back and forth now with the two groups having breakfast, recapping the night before. Tiki is wearing a t-shirt that says, I believe in Chris Jackson. And I had no idea what it meant. So I looked it up and I might be even a little bit more confused, but the only thing I could find was that Chris Jackson played George Washington in Hamilton. And Lin-Manuel Miranda once said, I don't know about God, but I believe in Chris Jackson. Don't know why he said that. They are friends, but if there's more context to it, I don't know. If you guys know more about what that means or where that came from, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Also, if anyone's wondering, Louis is wearing a t-shirt that says, do you, haters gonna hate. So Teresa thinks she's going to work her magic to get Melissa and Jennifer to make up. At Melissa and Joe's house, everyone's in the pool having fun. They're playing like a newlywed game. At Jennifer and Bill's house, Jennifer's on the phone with Gabby. I guess the kids are coming down later. Teresa's on the phone with Gia. Jennifer tells Gabby that she's not going to Melissa's pink party, and they're just going to have like a family night instead. I think that's for the best. Oh, I almost forgot about Delores and Frank. Delores pulls out a picture of their first New Year's Eve together, and oh my God, you guys, I am obsessed with this picture. Dolores's face, Frank's glasses, Dolores's hair, Frank's hair. I mean, there's just so much to look at in this picture. Okay, we've got the crew setting up for Melissa's pink party. The guys all have their pink shirts on. Melissa's happy that Jennifer's not going to be there, but she's a little bit worried about Margaret because now Margaret is starting to voice her displeasure with Louis saying, on your best day, you wouldn't intimidate me. And you know, yeah, what was that? I don't blame her, and I do find it hard to believe that Margaret would let that slide. Everyone's arriving for this party. There's a bunch of people there beyond the cast. like other friends and family members. So now the ladies at the party want Delores to tell them what happened after they left Jennifer's house. And Delores says to Melissa, listen, you got up and you charged toward her. It looked like you were going to hit her. If I was Jennifer, I probably would have hit you. That's all I'm saying. And Margaret goes, but Jennifer grabbed her. You don't put your hands on somebody. Jackie, I think she's disgusting. And Delores goes, but Jackie, you had empathy for her a week ago. And Jackie said, I did. I wanted to be there for her as a mother. And then you told her that I said Bill shouldn't have stuck his dick in someone else. Why? To start a fight? Dolores, I thought it was very cruel and vulgar. Delores doesn't think for a second that Jackie said it in defense of Jennifer. I don't know what to tell you. I don't even see it any other way, but I don't think like Delores does about men and like the cheating and keeping it a secret. I think we're coming from way different places, you know? Margaret says, Delores, how could you keep defending this girl? Delores goes, I can't defend a lot of what she said. But when you guys argue with her, you're all ganging up. See what I mean? They all have their own issues with her. I think that's different than ganging up. Yes, maybe they're all coming at her at the same time. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's different when she has come after each and every one of them. They all have their own reason to be mad at her. Melissa has a right to be mad that she called her husband crooked. And Jackie has a right to be mad that she dug up dirt on Evan. You know, throwing stuff at the gym. And Margaret, she came after her for having an affair and called her a slut and all that. So to me, a ganging up is when, you know, she hurt my friend and I'm going to go after her because of what she said about my friend. I mean, whatever. I guess it's semantics. It just feels different to me. Anyway, everybody's denying that they gang up on her. And Delores said, Tracy, do they do that or not? And Tracy's like, I mean, I guess they do pile on, but Jennifer could have resolved this by just apologizing. Inside the house, Teresa and Louis arrive and they're talking to Joe. Louis said, Jennifer feels really bad about what happened last night. Does she though? I don't think she does. Anyway, Joe goes, I don't think she does feel bad. If she did, she would have fixed it last night. She's got this evilness in her. Which is exactly what his sister said about Margaret. Outside, Melissa says she's done with Jennifer. There's no repairing that. Teresa says to Joe that if she was evil, I wouldn't hang out with her. Joe says he's offended that she does hang out with Jennifer after calling him a crook. Teresa says she's offended that he hangs out with Margaret. And Joe said, what did Margaret do? Teresa, she talked about Louis. Again, if Louis didn't make the weird video, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. Plus, she asked him to explain a video that he made. She didn't call him a crook or like affect his business in any way. Now Melissa and Tracy come inside and they get in the conversation with Joe and Teresa and Louis. Joe said, if somebody called you a crook, I'd back you up. Melissa, she called him a little pussy bitch. Wrong again, but close. The phrase we're looking for is little bitch girl. Now Tracy goes, she pointed a finger and said, Joe, you're a little bitch boy for defending Melissa. Nope. Still not right. Melissa goes, you should have said don't talk to my brother like that. Teresa, who cares about that? Oh yeah. Easy going, Teresa. Okay, now what happens next, you guys? It's very important. Get a drink. Sit down. Tracy says to Teresa, if I said, Louis, you're a fucking bitch boy, I am sitting on my couch going, I like had this reaction that felt like it was in slow motion for Tracy. No. Abort, abort. Tracy. You do not speak in hypotheticals or use analogies around Teresa. Jesus. Ladies, how about you watch an episode before you join the cast? How about that? Do some homework. Anyway, Melissa goes, yeah, you would lose it. Teresa, I wouldn't give a shit. She's so chill. I'd be like, okay, he's my bitch boy. I believe her. Sure you would. Meanwhile, Louis looks like he's puzzling over that one. Also, who wound up Tracy? She said, you'd be like Melissa, Joe. Why the would you be friends with Tracy and Tiki if they're sitting there calling the man I love a little bitch boy? Teresa, who knows that's right? She knows it with every fiber of her being. She would be pissed, and she knows it. Says, who cares about the bitch boy stuff? Okay, well, how about the crook thing? Because Joe said he lost like a big client because of it. Do you think that's a big deal? That's what I would have said. Tracy does not learn her lesson, says to Teresa, you have to stand up for Melissa and Joe as family. Yeah, that's right. Little Tracy is schooling Teresa on how you treat family. Oh, that's not going to end well for her. I mean, not that I don't love it. Don't get me wrong. In Teresa's confessional, Tracy doesn't even know me. Tracy's trying to cause trouble with me and my family. My brother and Melissa need to stop that bitch. Oh, God. Tracy, who still didn't get the memo, goes on to tell Teresa that she needs to be a little more vocal in her support of her family. And Teresa starts crying. Yeah, Tracy made Teresa cry. Honestly, I don't think it's because of Tracy. I think it's because like her head was exploding because she couldn't figure out how to respond, you know, like how she could make it make sense that she was still defending her position. And it just like her brain exploded and she started crying and she walks away and Louis follows her. The end. Yeah. That's where this episode ends. Yeah, I mean, a lot going on down the shore. So next week, I assume we're still going to be there. That's it from me. As always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. That really helps me a lot. And also, if you want to help me and you are shopping at Amazon anyway, if you go through one of my links in the description down below, I have linked different items that I recommend from Amazon. I'm going to update that soon, by the way. Sorry, because they've been on there for a long time. If you go to one of those links, you don't have to buy that item, but if you then, while you're still logged into Amazon, if you purchase anything else, I will get credit for that. So I would appreciate that as well. All right, thank you so much. I will be back next time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. See you then. Bye.